USA, we have freedom of speech, which means that we can say what we want without someone telling us that we can't. For instance, if you post something on social media, the government will get mad. Freedom of speech is the First Amendment. Before the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, America was under the rule of England. They were in the 13 colonies. The Founding Fathers and the citizens of the 13 colonies were not allowed to say what they wanted about the King of England. The First Amendment. The First Amendment was a part of the original Constitution. When the Founding Fathers were writing the Constitution, they wanted to be able to say what they wanted without the leader getting them in trouble. Some people use their art as a way of expressing their freedom of speech. Okay, so how do you use your freedom of speech in your artwork?
Well, I try to paint whatever I want to, however I want to, without anybody telling me that's wrong. And the only time you have to take criticism from somebody is if you're in a class and somebody's trying to teach you a certain technique and they know how to do it and you're trying to learn. But other than that, you can just be your own master when you're doing art. And if somebody doesn't like it, that's tough. They don't have to like anything, but if they do like it, that makes it even better. And so you can't try to throw your ideas onto other people unless you're really sold on them and they want to find out. But other than that, when you're doing artwork, it's every person for himself.
Thank you very much for your answers. On the radio, like this radio, some news stations are able to exercise their freedom of press. Yeah. So, as an editor at NPR, how are you able to use your freedom of speech?
Wow. How do I use my freedom? I see that's a really tough question. How do I use my freedom of speech? Well, I think that the press in this country, the media in this country, are an example of free speech, which is that people of all sides of an issue are allowed to express their beliefs, whether you disagree with them or not, whether you find their beliefs something admirable or something hateful, you still are able to express those beliefs.
Yes, thank you very much. So, expressing their freedom of speech. So, I know you are the director for Last Chance U on Netflix, and how do you use your freedom of speech in that show?
It's a good question. I think it's something, because I've grown up in this country, I just take it for granted that I can go and film people, and I can edit a story based on what I film, and I can put it out there how I want to put it out there. I'm putting out what I think is the truest version of what I filmed, yeah. And I don't have a government that is censoring me as I do it. I have some friends who are filmmakers that I've met from other countries, and they do that same thing, but in some cases at great risk. For instance, in a country like Iran, who I met a filmmaker from Iran and at a couple of different film festivals, and this individual, it's much harder. They've got to smuggle their films out. The films have to find distribution without that filmmaker being there. And then when they do come out, if the government is mad enough, that filmmaker is worried about their family and what's going to happen to their family, or they worry about what's going to happen to them when they return to that country. That's something we just don't have to worry about here.
Yeah. So, if you didn't have freedom of speech, how would your films be different?
Well, I probably would spend a lot of time thinking about, well, is this something that is going to get past government censorship? If I had a government that could come along and at any time change it to have it conform to what they wanted to say rather than what I wanted to say.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Freedom of speech to me is a very important right. Freedom of speech was established a long time ago, but now it has become modern with freedom of speech in the media. Freedom of speech is something that is American to me, and for me, that means I am American.